It was a golden opportunity for us to show the world at large, from the rostrum of the United Nations in New York last September, what we Africans have achieved and the milestones that we've made in order to ensure our development. We tried as much as possible to meet the aspirations of the international organization, the international community. In 2014, several African countries recorded an increased growth rate despite the global economic crisis, which is also continuing today. The results, the positive results, are thanks to the economic policies implemented by African governments, and these economic policies have actually improved the lives of the most vulnerable people of our countries. Cognizant of the key role that the agricultural sector has to play to ensure food security, economic growth, and poverty alleviation, African leaders declared 2014 the Year of Agriculture. Hence, particular attention was paid to the agricultural sector, which made it possible for our continent in 2014 to actually do a lot in order to ensure the development of our people, particularly in the area of agriculture and agro-industry. Food self-sufficiency, agro-industries, and poverty alleviation, particularly in rural areas, remain the fundamental objectives of the African Union, which we are trying as much as possible to achieve, especially while developing research and access to international markets in an environmentally friendly technologies. African leaders took some very important decisions on important matters for the continent, including the Agenda 2063 and the post-2015 development agenda, so that Africa can become a continent that will be free of wars and conflicts, and where we all enjoy justice, good governance, and respect for human rights. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to congratulate my sister, Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, President of the Republic of Liberia and Chairperson of the High-Level Committee on the Post-2015 Development Agenda, for an excellent job. May I also seize this opportunity to thank the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the African Development Bank, the regional economic communities, NEPAD, and other partners for their contributions. And I would like to call on the international community to support Africa's agenda, the Africa we want. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in 2014, we had several summits, including the summit with the European Union, with the United States in Washington. We attended the climate summit in New York, and we also had a summit with the G20 in Brisbane and a summit with Turkey in Malabo. In all these meetings, Africa tried to make its voice heard on all the important matters as an equal partner, concerned about the present and the future of humanity, sharing common values of peace, freedom, justice, democracy, and deep aspirations to a better life for its daughters and sons, for their security and for their prosperity. Once again, we would like to say thank you to all our partners and thank them for the commitments that they are taking for the African continent. Also thank them for showing interest in our continental affairs. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the outbreak of the Ebola virus and its rapid spread surprised all and sundry in the world and destabilized its medical facilities, the medical facilities of the countries affected. These countries we visited a few weeks back in order to show our solidarity and our support. And while we were on the field, we noticed the excellent cooperation between these countries and the international community. I want to hail the courage and the spirit to combat the virus by all these countries. This virus is a devastating virus and a stubborn one that we've not succeeded to eradicate despite all the efforts that we've been making. As we welcome the initiatives taken by the African Union Commission, by some member states, and by the international community to help the affected countries by this virus, we would also want to reiterate here our clarion call, a call that we made from New York, Brisbane, and Malabo. Our call to the international community to work hard in order to develop a vaccine, to provide treatment to the victims of Ebola, and also to strengthen prevention and to stop the pandemic if possible, and even step up investment in the area of scientific research in virology and provide assistance to the affected countries. From this rostrum, I would like to launch an appeal for the debt burden of these countries to be simply cancelled. In addition, we should step up efforts to improve the health indicators in general, consolidate our health system, improve on our infrastructure and access to medical facilities, and also to properly and adequately train our health personnel. We also have to step up efforts, particularly our efforts in the area of HIV/AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, and related diseases in order to preserve the health of our youth and our women from these pandemics. We should have constant support given to the African Pharmaceutical Production Plan, to the Maternal Mortality Reduction Plan as well. It is also urgent for us to put in place the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a center that we all decided in 2013 here in Addis Ababa to put in place. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, sustainable development will be a dream come true if our people have good health, and if this is not done, sustainable development will remain a pipe dream. Our continent is grappling with a lot of challenges, particularly in the area of peace and security, due in the main due to the escalation of transborder terrorism, extremism, crime wave, and trafficking of all sorts. Several factors have contributed to the precarious security situation in some regions of our continent. Among these factors, we can mention, for example, poor governance, the scars of age-old social and cultural conflicts, economic difficulties that actually led to social tensions, unemployment, juvenile delinquencies that actually are caused by inadequate and poor educational systems. However, terrorism remains a global scourge without a nationality, without religion, without race, and fighting this scourge calls for proper coordination from the international scene. The fruitful cooperation between the African Union, the United Nations, and other partners made it possible for us to find solutions to several armed conflicts on the African continent. However, the conflicts between The Sudan and South Sudan remains a major source of concern, despite all the efforts made by IGAD and the African Union in particular. The situation in Libya calls for an increased involvement of international cooperation. Under the aegis of the International Contact Group on Libya, so that the various factions in Libya, apart from the terrorists, the recognized terrorist groups, can actually sit down and find lasting solutions to that country, so that the country can have its authority and preserve the interests of the people. And like I said before, in this framework, we want to welcome the dialogue, the peace talks in Geneva, and we do hope that these peace talks will lead to a comprehensive agreement that will restore peace and stability and constitutional institutions in Libya. We also remain concerned by the situation in Nigeria and its neighboring countries, where Boko Haram continues to affect and to threaten peace and security. And we are calling on the countries of the region and the African Union to put in place a force that can combat Boko Haram and to support the Chadian army in its intervention at the borders with Cameroon. We demand the immediate liberation of people taken hostage by this wicked organization, Boko Haram. Despite all the progress made, the Central African Republic continues to retain our attention. We encourage the Central African stakeholders to build confidence and to remove all hurdles to a peaceful and stable country. We welcome and congratulate the state of affairs in Burkina Faso. The country is now moving towards free and fair elections in October 2015. And we do hope that it's going to help the country restore its democratic institutions. We encourage and support the Algeria peace talks, which should normally lead to a final solution, a final and comprehensive solution to the conflict in Mali. We welcome also the improved situation in the Great Lakes region, but we also want to remain vigilant to ensure that nothing else comes to undermine the peace in that region. In Somalia, the African Union and Somali forces have scored major victories against the terrorist group called Al-Shabaab. And these victories, we do hope, will consolidate the political institutions in Somalia and will actually put in place enough authority to run the country. In Tunisia, we are proud to see the democratic process in that country. These democratic process led to free and fair presidential elections recently. On a different note, we do believe that the ICC dropped its charges against His Excellency, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta. This is a victory for all of us. It is a decision that we have always called for. And to this effect, I guess we need to operationalize the African Court of Justice in order to take up similar cases. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on the 18th of December 2014, there was a meeting in Nouakchott. It's a meeting on security cooperation and the operationalization of the African Peace and Security architecture in the Sahel region. The meeting was attended by 11 countries of the region, the United Nations, the European Union, ECOWAS, and the Organization of Islamic Conference. The summit was a successful one. The decisions taken therein will boost security cooperation in the countries concerned and will contribute to operationalize our peace and security architecture in the region. The summit was followed on the 19th of December 2014 by a G5 Sahel Summit, created in February 2014 at the initiative of the countries of the sub-region who saw the need to put in place such a regional framework for coordination in order to combat the danger of terrorism and organized crime in our region. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you all recall that Africa has embarked for more than 10 years now on a new path that has enabled the continent to enjoy a more than 5% growth on average. This is a real progress for the continent, especially in the area of infrastructure, economic integration, and good governance. And so a high-level conference on transparency and sustainable development in Africa was organized in my country, particularly in Nouakchott. And the meeting actually looked at transparency, particularly in the area of fishing. During that meeting, we made a clarion call. The Nouakchott Declaration called on the African Union to put in place appropriate mechanisms to fight against tax evasion and illicit financial flows. Africa is a young and rich continent. It is a continent that has embarked on transformation and is enjoying economic growth. And it is working hard to build its energy sector, its transport sector, and its ICT section. And also working hard to develop agricultural and industrial programs in order to boost science and innovation. The continent is determined to strengthen its presence on the global scene, in compliance with its dimension and its role, and also in compliance with the international geopolitical display. So, Africa wants to play its role on the international scene. And so we should have a permanent representation at the UN Security Council. And for this to happen, we need to start negotiations that will increase the number of permanent members within the UN Security Council, and also to reform the global economic system. We need to help the United Nations ensure transparency and to encourage it to also have investment in Africa. This will help the people of the world and give them the ability to enjoy their right to development and to take advantage of the prosperity and progress so that humanity as a whole can live in dignity, freedom, justice, and equality. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that the efforts made by all our countries will help us to meet our objectives. I wish the African Union good luck, and I hope that we're going to have a successful summit today. Long live Africa. I thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.
سأعطي الكلمة للرئيس بيجي قائد السبسي يلقي كلمته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي السيد هايلي مريم
Your Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, Prime Minister
الجمهورية الإثيوبية
of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Mohammed Ould Abdelaziz, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania and Chairman of the African Union, Your Excellency Madame Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to express my deepest gratitude to the government of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia for hosting this summit and for all the arrangements made for the success of our meeting. I would like also to extend my thanks to the Chairman of the African Union, my brother Mohammed Abdelaziz, for his wisdom and his efforts during his presidency of the African Union, wishing the new chair full success in their mission. I would like also to thank Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma for her excellent management of the Commission's affairs and her dedication and endeavors to implement the resolutions of our meetings for the benefit of the joint African action. I take this opportunity to extend my warmest congratulations to my fellow African brothers, the presidents who were elected in 2014, and wish them full success in their noble missions to lead their peoples and the countries towards further progress and prosperity. Allow me, my brothers and sisters, African presidents, to share with you my vision of the most effective ways to meet the challenges in Africa, and to share with them the fruit of a long experience that allowed me to accompany the march of our continent with some of the founding fathers of our prestigious organization and the pioneers of the African Renaissance, amongst them the leaders Habib Bourguiba, Leopold Sédar Senghor, Félix Houphouët-Boigny, and Kwame Nkrumah. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride that I'm addressing you today for my first participation as the first elected president of the Second Republic of Tunisia. I'm pleased to seize this opportunity to confirm that the democratic process that Tunisia has chosen is irreversible. It is the same process as the one followed by the countries of our continent towards more democracy, freedom, openness, each country according to their choices and in respect for their sovereignty and specificities. Tunisians drafted a few weeks ago an enlightened page in their history. They have proven through the organization of free, pluralistic and impartial, transparent elections that the peoples of the continent can build up their present and future with their own hands. It was not an easy task for Tunisians without their determination to choose a consensual approach that will remain the motto of the next political stage. While expressing my pride for the work achieved by the people of Tunisia and their sacrifices that led to the adoption of a civil and democratic constitution and the holding of legislative and presidential elections, whose transparency and impartiality are recognized by the international community, I would also like to express my gratitude to my fellow Africans who supported Tunisia in its progress towards stability and democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, Tunisia is proud of its African belonging, of its
It is determined to take its place, to restore its prestige and the luster of its historical ties with the countries of the continent, politically, economically, and culturally. It is Tunisia that gave its name to the whole continent. It has been since the early years of its independence a strong supporter of the African countries who are seeking to free themselves from the yoke of colonialism. Tunisia is offering today its potential and experience to strengthen an African partnership based on solidarity. We do believe in the unity of our destiny and the ability of the peoples of the continent to improve their present and enhance their future. Tunisia is committed to working with our African brothers to strengthen and diversify cooperation in different areas and address the shortcomings of previous years that impeded the achievement of a real and effective partnership. I am confident that our continent, which has achieved respectable growth rates in recent years, is able to meet the aspirations of its peoples for development, security, and stability. Tunisia, noting with satisfaction the decline of conflicts in Africa, highlights the need to pursue conflict resolution and to confine them within an African framework that rests upon a consensus-based approach to resolve internal disputes. The strengthening the foundations of the joint action and the enhancement of dialogue are key requirements to break up the cycle of violence experienced by some African countries, such as sisterly Libya, with which we share joys and sadness. The security of Libya is not only the security of Tunisia, but it is also the one of the whole region. We do encourage all well-disposed efforts to find a political solution to the crisis in Libya, and we hope that the Libyan brothers will reach, through comprehensive and consensual national dialogue, a solution to put an end to the crisis through political means and ensure security and stability in their country. We are fully prepared to support our Libyan brothers to pursue the path of reconciliation and understanding to resolve the current crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, our continent is now waging a war against terrorist organizations that are hiding behind religion. We are invited today to close ranks against terrorism and adopt regionally and internationally a united and firm approach. The war united us in the past in our struggle against colonialism. It should unite us today more than ever in the fight against terrorism. While we express our solidarity with all the countries targeted by the terrorist phenomenon, we believe that the defeat of this transnational scourge is the responsibility of all countries worldwide. The imminent danger is threatening everyone, and no country is safe. And I would like here to express my condolences to the people of Egypt and the President of Egypt, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, after the attack committed against some 27 victims. My sincere condolences to my brothers in Egypt. I would like, under the general theme of this session, dedicated to the empowerment and development of women in Africa, as part of the implementation of Agenda 2063, to emphasize our belief that women are the core of national development in Africa. This is a conviction that was embodied in the pioneering legal status of women in Tunisia since the early years of independence. And I'm personally I'm personally I personally would like to extend my appreciation to the Tunisian women who supported me in my election. And
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État, de gouvernement et de délégation, distingués invités, nous sommes arrivés au terme de la cérémonie d'ouverture
of the official opening ceremony of our summit. Our sincere gratitude to all our guests. Thank them for the interest they show in Africa.
Nous allons donc, il m'a été demandé de vous informer
And I've been requested to inform you that we're going to adjourn now for lunch.